Want to know what a real man would tell their lady about love and life? You're in the right place. This is Hello Ladies with Rom Wills. Rom Wills is an author, speaker, and proud father. Grab some wine, sit back, and enjoy.
Hello, ladies. Welcome to my spot. Get out of the fantasy. Ladies. You know what? Ladies. Man, y'all got that fantasy about what y'all want to deal with a man. You know, you already got the script in your mind on how things should go. You know? Already got the script. And some of y'all get so into it, y'all think, okay, I'm going to follow this script. Everything going to turn out all right. It never does, ladies. I've yet to see a woman win with following that fantasy. If a woman had something to the contrary, like her own personal experience, don't hit me with, well, I knew this person who knew this other person who had, you know, they got their fantasy man and they happily ever after. Ladies, I'm on here to tell y'all some real shit, okay? I'm not on here to, like, give you a fantasy. See, here's the problem with the fantasy. It's just that it's a fantasy. It's not real life, you know? You know, it's hard, you know, a lot of ladies have a fantasy of that rich, handsome guy who's going to work hard, do all this stuff, let her stay home and stuff, and then it's like just totally have time for her. Let me break that down in a bit because, you know, we always got so many women looking for that guy with that money and everything. Ladies, he got to spend time to make money. So he going to be doing 60, 70 hours a week on a job or business. He going to be putting a lot of hours in. He might not have time for you because I know y'all want some man to make love to you and everything. And that's cool, but, you know, he get home from work, that might be the last thing he thinking about. He too tired and stuff. And you been sitting around all day because I know a lot of y'all got that fantasy. Nah, ladies. You got to deal with the reality of the man in front of you. See, here's another problem with the fantasy because a lot of ladies complain about F-boys and stuff, but a smart F-boy plays right to the fantasy. He tell you exactly what you want to hear, do the things you want him to do, and once he said his feel of you, well, he dismisses you, kind of like the maid. Nah, but if you realistic, one, about who you are. Now, I know y'all already know, but a lot of women still get that fantasy, like, oh yeah, he sees me as a dime. You know, these guys see me as a dime. Part of that's a fantasy too. He probably don't. But you get out that fantasy, you realistic with yourself and you realistic with him. And then you realistic that he's not going to be Mr. Perfect, but he's going to be, you know, the type of guy who's going to work hard and work to do the right thing. Basically, he's human. Then all of a sudden it opens it up for you. It opens it up because what happens is so many women get into the fantasy. And that fantasy guy, and it's like you might meet somebody, but he don't do anything. So you add stuff to the fantasy that he can't, you know, you can't really meet it. Because that fantasy, come on now. How you going to meet that guy that got everything? Let's hypothetically say, okay, you want the tall guy. Okay, fine. You want the guy who got some muscles. Okay, fine. He's muscular. He's good looking. Okay, fine. You know, he's making all this money. Okay, fine. He's totally, you know, he's bossy when he needs to be, when you don't want to be bothered, but otherwise he'll let you do what you want. Okay, fine. Ladies, how many of y'all have met that or even known somebody who got that? You know, that's the reality. Now, on my men's channel, I've told the men plenty of times, hey, man, y'all got to be realistic out this joint. Well, y'all especially got to be realistic. You know, see, what you want to find is the guy who fits in with you, who you complimentary to, who, because I know submission's a bad word for you, but you can be in submission to his mission. But if you doing that type of man, well, one, if you don't want to work, he don't have no problems like taking care of you. That's the man who would take care of you. You supporting that man, he would support whatever you want. That's a little secret, especially for the women don't like talking about submission. You submit to his plan. You help him with his plan, whatever you want. You want to sit back in the house and chill, he don't got a problem with it. Some men fantasize about that. They want to be able to say, hey, I take care of my woman. She don't have to work. All you have to do is just take care of him. But that's just a reality. But then, see, the problem is you're looking for that fantasy. And how many women have passed over several good men because he wasn't quite the fantasy man? Seriously, how many? How many of y'all have done that? How many of y'all have met that guy? He's pretty good, but he wasn't quite the fantasy. And you passed over him because you waiting for that fantasy. You know? And that could have been there. Could have been there for you. You got to deal with what's actually out here. Then you can see people for what they are. And kind of like I talked about in my last podcast, if you get out the fantasy, then the men you meet, they can show you something new. Show you something you ain't even thinking about. And they can actually excite you because they got something new. They showing you different parts of life you didn't even think was there. You didn't even know was there. You know, because when you focus on that fantasy, it's kind of like a tunnel vision. And you're looking for that exact fit. Yet, and I'm going to throw religion in here for a second. God might want you to find this guy because he can open you up to talents that you might not have known that you had. That might be the guy, like you might have been that little girl who was always singing all the time, but for whatever reason couldn't get into it. The actual good man for you, you know, not the fantasy man. The fantasy man probably don't care about that, if he even existed. But the real man for you, the good man, the complimentary man, you might be just singing casually and you say, baby, that sounds good. I think you should sing. And then because you are in submission to his mission, he'll make part of his mission to promote your singing, to help you. You say, you'd be like, baby, I want to go to this singing school. It's like, baby, I got it. How much is it? Boom. He writing the check already. Boom. That's how it works. Being in submission to his mission. Because then you become a part of his mission. He making you happy because you making him happy. Right? So, but you got to get out that fantasy to meet that guy. A lot of times he's right there, but a lot of women pass over a good guy. Because you're looking for the fantasy, not the reality. Because then when you see the reality, you open yourself up to see a bigger picture. To see everything around you. Understand that. Once you understand that, boom. But you got to deal with it, ladies. You know, get with the reality. Get with the reality. There's plenty of men. I know they're always saying there's a shortage of men. And yeah, there's a shortage of men who society holds up as, you know, the top dogs and everything, the so-called alpha males. But every single woman might have an alpha male to themselves. Because despite what they say about the women outnumbering men, it's really, that don't really hit good until, older age. Women do live longer. Well, because we work a lot harder, so, and we get involved in wars and stuff. That's the only reason. So, but if you're realistic and you're in a reasonable age, you can probably find somebody. All right? So, ladies, I want y'all to think about that. Just get out that fantasy. Deal with reality, okay? So that's all I have for now. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.